Welcome back. Today we're going to be jumping into Proverbs chapter 9. My one-word synopsis for Proverbs chapter 9 is the word learn. Be a lifelong learner. Now, there's a foundational structure that helps me come to that conclusion about Proverbs chapter 9. This helps me interpret the whole chapter of Proverbs chapter 9, all 18 verses. It starts in verse 1. Wisdom has built her house. She's hewn out 7 pillars, meaning the foundational truths, the building of wisdom has been, the building or the structure of it has been built. It's perfect. It's complete. The 7 pillars, it's complete. She's prepared her meat and mixed her wine. She's also set a table, meaning the provisions have been made available, and now you are welcome to come and learn. She's set out her maids and she calls from the highest points of the city, meaning now you are actually not just welcome, but now wisdom is inviting you. It's calling out to you in each facet of your life to come and learn. Verse 6 says, leave your simple ways and you will live. Walk in the way of understanding. Leave your simple ways. Come and be a learner. Verse 9 says, instruct a wise person and he will be wiser still. Teach a righteous person and they will add to their learning. Now, here is the kind of a foundational key is in verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. It's important that we don't stop learning. Now, I know as a follower of Jesus, as a Christian in my life, there have been times when I have gotten complacent in learning about who He is, learning more of who He is, learning about more of who I am, learning about myself, and being honest with myself in my learning and my understanding and education and training. Learning about my jobs and learning about my profession and learning about my pastoral ministry, learning about my evangelistic ministry, learning about my missions ministry. There have been times when I become complacent because, well, it's just good enough. Well, that's when you start getting bored. And every time that I felt like, oh, well, I guess it's just good enough, I'll just keep doing that. I got to a place where I don't know that I was bored, but I got to a point where I had to ask the question, there has to be more than this. And every single time I get to the point where I ask the question, there has to be more than this, the truth is, there is. I was just complacent and I stopped learning. I stopped growing. It wasn't that the information wasn't there. It wasn't that the applications weren't there. It wasn't that the opportunities weren't there. It's just I became complacent. I was the problem. Not wisdom, not understanding, not the knowledge of the Holy One. And so there is a principle in Proverbs chapter 9 about continually learning. Now, continually learning also helps you not fall prey to the weaknesses of temptations that are out there that maybe I felt temptation to 10 years ago, but now I've grown past that, or 5 years ago, or maybe it was even yesterday. And I've grown past that because I'm starting to recognize that there are things in my life that I am learning about me that I choose not to repeat anymore. So number 1, learn about yourself. Number 2, learn how to live as you in the world. This is really important. Stop trying to live like somebody else. Stop setting your expectations based on other people's lives. Learn to live the life God has given you. Be the person He's called you to be. Don't set your expectations and your goals based on your parents, your family, your spouse, your kids, your employers. Do it based on you. Now, will there be a standard? Of course there's a standard. There's always standards. But here's what's important about having a standard, is that now you can choose to live above the standard. Because above the standard is where promotion comes from. Below the standard is where demotion comes from. So if you want to just be here, you will not learn much more. If you want to just operate at the standard, you will become good at whatever you do, but you will not become more. And you will ask yourself at some point in time in your life, there's got to be more than this. I want to encourage you today to be a visionary of your own life. Step up here. Set your personal standards based on what you know, based on who you are. Learn the next step. Learn the next level. Invest in the next level. Number 3, lean into the Lord and learn His ways. So 1 is learn about you. Number 2, learn how to live as you. Number 3, lean into the Lord and learn His ways. Now, I have been studying this book. I want to just show you the camera. This is my Bible. And it's like this throughout my Bible. There are places where I have spent a considerable amount of more time studying, and there are some places where I've spent less time studying. But as you look at my Bible, I've written all over it. And the reason I've written all over it is because I want to remember what the Word says to me. I want to dig in, and I translate some of it right here, because it helps me to apply it better when I translate the words, and I have to work through some of the words so that it makes more sense to me, so that I can get it in my head, get it in my heart, and now the Holy Spirit helps me to work out living it. So lean into the Lord and learn His ways. Number 4, resist the temptation to procrastinate. Let me say it again. Resist the temptation to procrastinate. Oh, I'll learn it someday. I'll learn it when. Don't do that. Make the time, invest the time, break open your schedule, crack it open somewhere, and start learning. Even if you got to take 15 or 30 minutes a day, learn something every day, because the goal of all learning is transformation. I remember the first time I heard that, I was in college, and a teacher said that to me, that the goal of all teaching, the goal of all education, the goal of all learning is transformation. And I really had to sit on that for a long time and think about, is that really the goal of learning? Is it amassing knowledge? And I finally came to the point where I decided for me that the best way for me to approach transformation in my life is to learn about myself, to learn something about how to live as me. Because for most of my life, I tried to live like other people I respected, who were good people, but it just became too hard to do. And then number 3, to lean into the Lord and to learn about Him, to be transformed by the power of the Holy Spirit, and to resist the temptation to procrastinate. Man, this is tough for a lot of people, because we like to put stuff on the back burner and think we'll get to it someday, and then we're just not guaranteed that day. The only day you're guaranteed is the one you're living right now. So the goal of all learning is transformation. So I want to just give you something practical today. There are 4 areas of my life, 4 things in my life pretty much, that I am always engaged in a class, whether that's online or with lessons or with a mentor or in school, because I still do I use Coursera and Lynda, which is LinkedIn Learning, and I use several other websites that I actually take college classes. But there are 4 areas. There's Bible, guitar, camera, and people. So with the Bible, I'm constantly here. Every day I'm here. I'm in the Word every day. And I have lots and lots of resources at my fingertips that because I've been doing this for so long, that help me to continue to learn the Word. When there's something I get stuck on, I no longer just bypass it. I stop. And I don't go on until I get it. Number 2 is guitar. I have been a guitar player since I started playing at 10, and I'm 54 now, so I've been playing 44 years. I should be better than I am, and the only reason that I'm not is because I stopped learning. At a certain point in my life, for about 15 years, I was playing, but I was just playing what I knew. I wasn't trying to get better. Well, that's changed. I am constantly learning new techniques and new practices on how to use the guitar and how to play the guitar and not let the guitar play me. Number 3, cameras. I have a photography business, and I'm a pretty decent photographer, but I'm not a great photographer. There are a lot of things to learn about light and about life and about how I see the world that really do have to be transformed. And so I'm constantly working on, how do I use the tools that I have better, and how do I grow in seeing life so that I take better pictures. And then number 4, probably the second most important in the Bible, it's right on par with that, is people. People. I am constantly learning about people. I love being around people. My family, I ask questions probably too much, and they would say that I'm a little too inquisitive. But I ask a lot of questions because I want to get to know you. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know the things that frustrate you and the things you love, and so that I don't frustrate you so much, and so that I can be part of that side of love in your brain. About culture. I love learning about culture, and even in this era of our culture in 2020, I still love learning about culture, and I love learning about the church. I love the church. And we've been in a season where the church has been not available for anybody in America right now because we've been at shelter in place for the last 8 weeks. And it's been really tough not being with my people at church, but it will change. God will bring it back. So I want to encourage you, have something in those things that you're interested, that you love, have those things readily available. Get online and find ways to grow in them. You will always find something new, somebody who's better, somebody who's more equipped, somebody who's smarter. You will always find someone who can do that for you. Be a lifelong learner. Continue to press in. Don't stop learning so that you won't stop being transformed. God bless you. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.